After World War I, Cameroon, once a German colony, became a League of Nations mandate territory. This transition marked a significant shift in the region's history, as the League of Nations sought to manage and oversee the development of former colonies. The mandate system was intended to prepare these territories for eventual self-governance, but in practice it often meant continued foreign control and exploitation. France gained control of the larger eastern portion, while Britain administered a smaller area along the western border with Nigeria. This division was not merely geographical, but also cultural and administrative, as each colonial power imposed its own systems and policies. The French implemented a more direct form of rule, integrating their portion of Cameroon into the broader French colonial empire, while the British opted for indirect rule, working through local leaders and existing structures. This division had a lasting impact on Cameroon's development, shaping its political, economic, and social landscape for decades to come. The differing colonial policies led to varied experiences and developments in the French and British-controlled areas. In the French zone, there was a stronger push towards assimilation and the adoption of French culture and language, while the British zone maintained more of its traditional structures and practices. Under French rule, Cameroon experienced significant infrastructure development, particularly in transportation and communication networks. The French invested in building roads, railways, and ports to facilitate the export of raw materials and the import of goods. These developments were aimed at integrating Cameroon more closely with the French economy and ensuring the efficient extraction of resources. The French also introduced cash crops like coffee and cocoa, which became crucial to the economy. These crops were grown on large plantations, often owned by French settlers or companies, and required significant labor. The focus on cash crops led to changes in land use and agricultural practices, with traditional subsistence farming being pushed to the margins. However, this progress came at a cost. Local populations often faced forced labor, heavy taxation, and limited political rights. The colonial authorities imposed harsh labor policies, requiring local people to work on plantations, infrastructure projects, and other colonial enterprises. Taxation was another burden, with high taxes imposed to fund the colonial administration and its projects. Political rights were severely restricted, with local people having little say in how they were governed. The British, on the other hand, adopted a more indirect rule system. This approach involved working through existing traditional leaders and structures, allowing them to maintain a degree of authority and autonomy. The British believed this system would be more efficient and less costly, as it relied on local leaders to enforce colonial policies and maintain order. They relied on existing traditional structures and authorities to govern their part of Cameroon. This system of indirect rule had its advantages, as it allowed for some continuity and stability, and it was less disruptive to local societies. However, it also had its drawbacks, as it often reinforced existing power structures and inequalities, and it could lead to conflicts between traditional leaders and the colonial authorities. This approach fostered a degree of local autonomy, but also led to uneven development between the North and South, a legacy that continues to pose challenges today. The northern regions, under British rule, often received less investment and development compared to the southern regions under French control. This disparity has had long-term consequences, contributing to regional inequalities and tensions that persist in Cameroon to this day. The colonial period left a complex legacy, with both positive and negative impacts on the country's development and its path towards independence. The end of World War II marked a significant turning point for Cameroon and the world. The global landscape was dramatically altered, and the winds of change began to sweep across continents. The aftermath of the war saw the decline of colonial empires and the rise of new nations seeking self-determination and independence. The rise of nationalist movements across Africa, coupled with changing global dynamics, put immense pressure on colonial powers to relinquish control. The spirit of independence was palpable, and the desire for self-governance grew stronger with each passing day. African leaders and activists rallied their people, igniting a fervor for freedom that could not be easily extinguished. In Cameroon, both the French and British administrations faced growing demands for self-determination. The colonial rulers were increasingly challenged by a populace that yearned for autonomy and the right to chart their own destiny. protests and demonstrations became more frequent, signaling a shift in the political landscape. Political parties emerged, advocating for independence and reunification. These parties played a crucial role in mobilizing the masses and articulating the aspirations of the people. They organized rallies, disseminated information, and built a sense of national identity that transcended colonial boundaries. The Union des Populations du Cameroun, founded in 1948, became a prominent voice for immediate and complete independence. The UPC's call for liberation resonated with many Cameroonians who were eager to break free from colonial rule. Their message was clear. The time for independence was now, and they would not rest until their goal was achieved. Led by charismatic figures like Ruben Umniobe, the UPC challenged French authority, leading to periods of unrest and suppression. Niobe's leadership and vision inspired many, but also drew the ire of the colonial administration, resulting in crackdowns and violent confrontations. Despite the repression, the movement persisted, driven by an unyielding commitment to freedom. Meanwhile, in British Cameroon, the question of independence became intertwined with the future of the territory itself. The region faced a complex set of choices, each with profound implications for its people. Debates and discussions were held to determine the best path forward, reflecting the diverse opinions and aspirations of the population. Options included unification with French Cameroon, independence as a separate entity, or integration with Nigeria. Each option had its proponents and detractors, and the decision-making process was fraught with tension and uncertainty. The stakes were high, and the outcome would shape the future of the region for generations to come. Through plebiscites held in 1959 and 1961, the people of British Southern Cameroon voted to join French Cameroon, paving the way for the reunification of the country. This historic decision marked the beginning of a new chapter for Cameroon, as the nation embarked on a journey towards unity and self-determination. The reunification celebrations were a testament to the resilience and determination of the Cameroonian people, who had fought tirelessly for their right to shape their own destiny. On January 1st, 1960, French Cameroon gained independence, marking a pivotal moment in the nation's history. Amadou Ahidjo, a prominent politician from the north, became the first president. Less than a year later, on October 1st, 1961, the southern part of British Cameroon joined the newly independent nation, forming the Federal Republic of Cameroon. This reunification was a testament to the shared history, culture, and aspirations of the people, despite the artificial divisions imposed by colonialism. The newly formed federation faced numerous challenges. Integrating two systems of governance, administration, and law proved complex. Moreover, the legacy of colonialism, including economic disparities and political divisions, lingered. Nevertheless, the reunification held the promise of a stronger and more united Cameroon. Section 4. The Ahidjo Era, Stability and Centralization from 1961 to 1982. Amadou Ahidjo's presidency spanned over 2 decades, marked by a focus on national unity, political stability, and economic development. Ahidjo pursued policies aimed at consolidating power and creating a strong central government. In 1972, he abolished the federal system, establishing a unitary state known as the United Republic of Cameroon. While this move aimed to strengthen national unity, it also raised concerns about the marginalization of certain regions and groups. Ahidjo's government implemented a planned economic system, investing heavily in infrastructure, agriculture, and import substitution industrialization. These efforts yielded some success, contributing to modest economic growth and improved living standards for some segments of the population. However, challenges remained, including income inequality, corruption, and dependence on primary commodities. Section 5. The Biya Years Continuity and Change, from 1982 to 2025. This period is characterized by a blend of steadfast policies and transformative shifts, reflecting the complex nature of leadership and governance in Cameroon. In 1982, Amadou Ahidjo unexpectedly resigned, handing over power to his Prime Minister Paul Biya. This unexpected transition marked a significant turning point in Cameroon's political landscape, as Biya stepped into the role of president. This transition ushered in a new era in Cameroon's history, one marked by both continuity and change. The citizens of Cameroon experienced a blend of familiar policies and new initiatives aimed at steering the nation towards progress. Biya continued many of Ahidjo's policies, particularly in the realm of economic development. Under his leadership, Cameroon saw significant investments in infrastructure projects and agricultural development, which were crucial for the nation's growth. However, he also introduced political reforms, gradually moving towards a multi-party system. This was a notable shift from the single-party rule that had dominated Cameroon's political scene for decades. The late 1980s and early 1990s witnessed a wave of democratization across Africa, and Cameroon was no exception. The winds of change were blowing, and the demand for political freedom and representation was growing stronger. Facing internal and external pressure, Biya legalized opposition parties in 1990. This move was seen as a significant step towards democratization, allowing for a more pluralistic political environment. This move, while significant, did not lead to a complete democratization. The political landscape remained fraught with challenges, including political unrest and opposition protests, as the struggle for true democratic governance continued. Biya and his party, the Cameroon People's Democratic Movement, have maintained a firm grip on power, winning every election since the early 1990s. Despite the introduction of opposition parties, the political dominance of Biya's party has remained unchallenged, raising questions about the true extent of democratic progress in Cameroon. Throughout his tenure, Biya has navigated both domestic and international challenges, addressing the nation on key issues and participating in diplomatic meetings to strengthen Cameroon's position on the global stage. His leadership has been marked by a delicate balance of maintaining stability while attempting to introduce reforms. Under Biya's administration, Cameroon has seen periods of economic growth and social development. Various programs aimed at improving education, healthcare, and infrastructure have been implemented, reflecting the government's commitment to enhancing the quality of life for its citizens. Despite the political challenges, Cameroon has continued to celebrate its rich cultural heritage and national unity. The country's diverse population has played a crucial role in shaping its identity and fostering a sense of community and resilience. As we look towards the future, the period from 1982 to 2025 serves as a testament to the resilience and adaptability of the Cameroonian people. With emerging young leaders and technological advancements, there is hope for a brighter and more inclusive future for Cameroon.